in. As it turns out, but I will do that, and I will keep everybody posted on that. And thank you very much for that opportunity. And I'm local and I'm visible and I'm in the area. So if anybody has any questions or rumors or wants to start a rumor, let me know.
I didn't know twice a year he leads a ceremony, Veterans Day and Memorial Day, Redondo Beach at our Veterans Park. Come on down. I'm sure they'll recognize you as a dignitary, visiting dignitary. It's pretty awesome right there on the ocean.
Both those events have turned out to be iconic parts of the community in Redondo Beach. And this year, leading the Pledge of Allegiance is our own council member, Jane Abadi.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Let's move on to the consent calendar. Any items to be pulled for discussion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
On the floor, approved?
Second.
Again, Shay, let's see, do I need to?
We can do.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Just gonna sit in the back.
Okay, next item is general assembly cost. At the board meeting, we presented to the board that it was gonna cost $20. And they referred it back to the steering committee. We've actually had some discussions on our staff. One discussion was, maybe we shouldn't charge anything because that seems to work. And we're not really doing it for the money, we're doing it for the RSVPs.
Right.
And so that would, that's a model we know about. The other is maybe we should consider charging early bird $15 so that if you did it far in advance, but then a week before the event and the day of the event, we would have like 25 or something that you could get at $20, so that there'd be, because the problem we're having is that the walk-ins are you guys. You don't RSVP and then we don't want to not give you lunch.
So the week of though, it's gonna be too late for food.
Okay, so some cutoff date. We raise it to 20, or we just keep it at 20 and see how it works. So those are the things we came up with. So discuss the charge for lunch and make a decision because we have to move forward.
I thought the discussion at the board of directors meeting was more so concerned that 20 was too expensive for folks, right?
So too.
And so maybe what we could do is, because ultimately if people have skin in the game, they're gonna show up for the meal if they paid something for it. It doesn't have to be a super high amount of money. So maybe we make it $10 early bird, 15 or 20 at the door type deal.
And Kim was reminding me, we wouldn't take cash. No cash would be accepted. We don't.
Sure, everybody's got Venmo, Zelle, whatnot. You can Bitcoin.
Tap it.
So we don't care what you decide, but we just need a decision.
It can't be at the door though. If it's at the door, then we can't guarantee lunch.
Well, you have to do it at least a week prior.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we could
cutoff.
some cutoff. We'll figure out the best cutoff for the food count.
I like
That
it.
work for you?
10,
The
10,
10, 15.
The $10 pays for the meal?
No, the
No,
$30.
that's not the purpose. It's just to make sure that if you paid it, you'll come to the event.
We don't have 500 RSVPs.
I'll say 15, not 10. 10 is too cheap.
I think it has to be something that if you decide not to come, you don't feel any pain. And you're saying 10 is too cheap.
I said 15 is better.
The early bird.
So 15 would be the early bird.
I'll make a motion that we do $15 early bird and $20 at the door.
I second it.
The door.
Not at the door,
Not-
some cutoff.
1 week. It'll be the cutoff
A
date.
week and a half.
Say the food
Like a-
cutoff date or something.
Okay, the food cutoff date.
Okay,
And then we would have a limited number of those available.
right.
I second it.
Okay.
Okay, motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Goodbye lunch. Okay.
We hear what you say.
Go ahead, Jackie.
Okay, the October board meeting, it turns out we were gonna have it at Cal State Dominguez Hills, and we're still planning to have it at Cal State Dominguez Hills. But when I asked people who was going, there's only like 2 or 3 board members that are going. So it seemed a little crazy for everybody to go over there. Excuse me, to the forecast. I'm sorry. There are only a few people going to the forecast. So, and I'm one of them, but we can leave, there's time to leave there at 5 o'clock and get here by 6 o'clock. So my question is, do you want to still have it at Cal State Dominguez? And, or do you want to have it here?
I think it should be
Here.
anyway,
I could have wide back door.
because I think it's good to move things around. And,
People can
and,
find the meeting.
and plus, if it encourages people to go to that event, it's great because it is very much a regional event that the university puts on. It is, as my old boss used to say, it is top drawer. They really do an excellent program and it's information that people need. So, but I just really believe that it's healthy to move things around.
Last year was very good.
It's $135. Was it that expensive last year? It's $135. Yeah.
So I'll be there,
What day is it?
It's next,
the 24th.
24th.
Are we
It's
gonna be
our board
considering the Inglewood thing?
Yes, the Inglewood be with their,
oh Lord.
their
Oh my
here.
God.
I think I need.
I'm sure they can get people anywhere they need them.
This is November though, right?
Then the general public would have to
We
go
just
over
have
there.
beer garden.
Yeah, the public would have to go over there. Everybody has to go over there.
Yeah.
Might help.
Oh, it's October 24th,
Okay, I won't be here. I'll be in Japan.
October 24th.
Oh, no, I'll be here.
It'll be-
I'll be here. Got my dates screwed up. So what's the pleasure of the board, the steering committee? Move the board meeting, leave it there or bring it back?
They leave it there.
Leave it there.
There's more room. You can
Have a
run.
motion on the floor to leave it there?
Also a good point.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah, Cedric brings up a good point. There's more room there, which may be very useful for that meeting. Yeah.
I want to just mention
Okay.
that you mentioned about rotating. We used to always have the meetings rotated. We always could do that if you like that. I mean, we don't have to always meet here. So, but that's something you can.
Then we do it because of the Zoom.
We have to, and Zoom is, we found out we can do Zoom at Dominguez. It has to be a Zoom meeting for that purpose, for the Inglewood purpose.
Well, university can certainly do.
I don't know if every room, we just made
And
sure.
then parking there, they're gonna take care of
They
parking?
said they would give us free parking. Natalie's working on the logistics on it. So
Okay, that's fine. That just seemed to be a problem with, last time.
Is it easy to find on that campus?
Well,
What room?
Yeah,
what-
I don't know what room.
It'll be,
it depends on where it's at and then what lot they want you to park in.
I would hope we'd be in the same room forecast, the new building.
Plan was to have it in one of the other rooms in the same building.
Yeah, okay.
but the forecast, I think. is gonna be-
The innovation building.
I think the forecast is gonna be in the student union. That's where they normally do it. And then
Yeah.
they have the reception out on the patio at the innovation building.
Yeah.
And then we can use that room right inside there, which is spacious.
Okay, Jackie, go ahead.
Okay. And the other one thing we have down for this meeting is not only Inglewood, but we have Vincent Thomas Bridge and a discussion of the equity grant. So it is a full meeting. Vincent Thomas Bridge, I think, both of those things are fairly timely. So we'll try to keep it as, the Inglewood thing should not take so long if they won't bring everybody, because you guys all know how you're gonna vote anyway by then, but we'll see. The Metro LX, as you heard, tour was canceled, and we hope to get a new date by December. Remember, the November meeting is the third Thursday, and it's gonna be the big item on that meeting is not only the volunteer reception, but also an update on the SBFN when we think we have some major news we're gonna be delivering. So I think that's it, unless you have any comments on speakers you want to invite. And I can add as a speaker, the commander of the LA Air Force Base. But if you have any ideas of who you want, please let me know.
Can I just say something? So I know you made that comment about everyone knows how they're gonna vote before the meeting, but honestly, I mean, I don't know what you guys do as council members, but I actually try to come to meetings with some of it open mind, even though I generally have an idea of where I'm leaning. And this is a pretty big issue, the Inglewood issue. So I hate to think that everyone already knows how they're gonna vote. Well.
I'm sorry to say that, but a lot of cities are, I'm sorry, I was being flip, I guess. A lot of cities are taking votes, like Hawthorne's gonna take a vote. So the delegates might be directed by the time they get to the meeting.
Okay,
I
well,
don't
no,
know.
that would be good.
Yeah.
But I would hope that
Yeah.
if someone came in with some amazing compelling argument, one way or the other, that they could possibly get people to consider other things versus all just coming in closed minded and say, I'm voting yes or no. I mean, that doesn't seem fair to our.
Victoria had to say today before the vote.
Yeah.
She was kind of spot on about that,
Well, but having a workshop,
not knowing
Oh, well, see, we can still have a workshop. I mean, we could still do that if you
I
want.
mean, that's my problem is I still have so many questions about it. I don't even know. how
That could be the
contract.
motion on the floor on the 24th.
They're gonna push you for timing. They're gonna say they need it for the FTA.
You can always ask.
Yeah, but if you would like, we can schedule a workshop now for before the 24th.
Well, I'm gonna try to schedule something with them, and if others want to join me in a non-majority fashion.
But I would like to be there because I think it's important.
I agree, but if we could pull that off, it'd be great, but.
Okay, I'll look at the calendar while we're sitting here because I think if you want, and not everybody has to come to the workshop.
Right.
But I think it would be good for us to do it.
Yeah, just for example, I vote yes to move to the board, but
Right,
who knows how my vote is going to be on the 24th, because I'm going to have a discuss with my city council members. And they're the one who's going to tell yes or no.
I know, but the motion was that we are approving it.
Well, not really. To tell you the truth, because I might vote no based on my council the next time.
Okay, no, fair enough. Good.
Yeah,
And I would hope all of us would have that because that's what I did.
exactly. Yeah.
I have my city attorney and
Yeah.
they really looked into the transportation department to look, how is this going to affect us in the event that this happens?
Yeah.
Because you are locking up money to
27.
2027.
Could we do a workshop at noon on the 21st or 22nd?
I don't have a problem.
You don't,
I don't have a problem.
I mean, what are they gonna do? They're gonna show that list of money that we're getting and say that there's plenty of money.
well,
for
you know,
Your project.
But maybe-
no, but if you have questions, I mean, it's for people that want to come and ask questions. And Mike can deliver the message to the team. I know they'll make it. And so, I mean, I think this is very complicated. If you have questions, I would love to give you that opportunity and we could do it here on either at noon on the 21st or 22nd.
They'll also meet with you individually. if you
Well,
want.
that's what I was planning on doing, but
But I think it's important for the COG to be involved.
21st works.
21st? Does that work?
21st, just.
So why don't we, I'll get something out right away after this meeting. And if you wanna, Mike, can you tell the team? And then those of you that wanna come can come and those that don't wanna come don't have to come.
It could be all the elected officials and maybe city staff.
I'll contact the city managers as well,
Okay.
because there were some city managers. I don't know if you noticed.
Time you said again?
Noon.
Free lunch.
I guess we'll have to have lunch again. Okay, we'll have to have lunch. Does that work?
You open to the public for
Yes.
non-Brown Act issues or?
They're not taking a
It's
vote.
it's not a Brown Act. I mean, they're not taking a vote.
They're not gonna take a vote.
But it still has to be open.
Still the ability to discuss. an action.
Right,
Yes.
yes. So it's a Brown, yeah, so we.
It will turn into a Brown Act meeting
That's-
if we have a form of the board, so we have to make sure that it's agenda, I mean, it's
Okay.
posted.
I think we should post it, and we're not trying to hide it, but.
No, I know, so
Yeah.
it has to be declared as a special board meeting.
Oh, so, yes.
Yeah, you
We have to do a special board. Yeah, you know all the rules. Okay.
Motion.
That's why you-
Special board meeting.
That's why you keep me around.
Okay.
That's why you're here.
Is there a second?
Second.
Alex.
Favor?
Okay.
I.
Those opposed, probably won't show up.
Cedric's gonna be there.
So we'll do that. That would be great.
All right.
I think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
Okay, so then let's go to, where are we?
You're on board agenda.
We have board agenda, so we're gonna have a special board meeting. So then now we're in approval of the invoices, which is, of course, why we're all here today, right?
Hold on, sorry.
By what we-
Oh, well, you haven't seen the invoices. Okay, so let's hold on off approval of the invoices while we pass them down. And we'll go to the new item that was added on the revised agenda, which is Ronson's gonna tell you about the Gateway South Bay Advocacy Letter on executive.
Yes, oh, thank you. During committee, there's a letter in your agenda packet, and it's up there on the screen. It was written, with our input by the Gateway City's executive. He is, very gung ho about, approaching Mayor Karen Bass, county folks about, moving up our kind of, advocacy items for our cities as it relates to homelessness. And so we contributed to this action plan. What this letter would do is it would go to the Executive Committee on Homelessness, which is chaired by Supervisor Barger, Karen Bass, and 6 other elected officials, including Paige Kalajervic from Redondo Beach, in hopes to see some action on some of the advocacy things that we're interested in. Like having a better homelessness count or having a homelessness census, if you will. Having our city's homelessness infrastructure, like access centers, shelters, be better coordinated into the coordinated entry system. And just providing more funding in general for our city programs. So these are things that we want to sign up for. And what we want is for the steering committee to approve this letter, and that will go to the executive committee on homelessness.
Questions?
Move the recommendation.
Okay, have a motion move, second. Thing, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next item.
Okay, next item. REAP.
Read.
Okay, REAP, the REAP grants have been extended so now we have 18-month grants, which are gonna turn out into less than that, but they had only been a year, but they were extended 6 more months. We received a letter of no prejudice from Metro on the project having to do with Hope Mobility Hubs, and we're working right now on an RFP being prepared. And the Housing Trust solicitation, we are ready to send it out no later than the Wednesday of this week. So that is on the way. We can solicit for the consultant, hire the consultant until we get a notice to proceed from SCAG. But we want to get this done as fast as possible. So they're letting us send out the RFP now. So you'll hear more about that, and the RFP will come back, what is it, November probably, to the November or December meeting.
Comes to
It's
the,
December meeting, I think.
yeah, and then I think the notice to proceed is like December 10th.
Yes, that's right. It comes to the December 9th meeting where the steering committee acts as the board, because we want to get them started. Okay, next is Wally with the fiber.
Well,
And what is it? We're caught up. Are we caught up in time?
Don't jinx it.
How do you like that?
I'm gonna do my.
We're ahead, actually.
So just.
Oh.
Thanks.
Hey, you should have seen him.
Wait, we haven't approved the invoices yet.
John, you should have seen him at the last meeting. He's going like this to me. Yeah, he was doing this.
Oh, good.
Okay, Wally, it's all yours.
Yeah, Wally.
All right, Jake and I are gonna do this together. Jake, do you want to throw it up? Okay, I don't mean to literally throw it. Okay, digital transformation, digital equity, next slide. So this is the first of 3 different presentations you're gonna get as we're gonna try and move forward on some actions around the South Bay Fiber Network and other digital. So there's today, then the board meeting is, we're gonna talk about the digital equity plan that we've been working on for a couple of years. And then sometime in November, we haven't decided yet, we're gonna have the extension plans and a kind of a big deal. Because this is a big deal. Jake, next. So I know that this isn't on anybody's radar exactly, but we're in a transition period between an analog society and a digital society. And it is literally digital transformation. And I agree, when we discussed it, Jake said, well, it's all before my time, so you do this slide. But it isn't before my time. I remember back when mainframes in the 50s and 60s, to get to one, you had to go into an air conditioned place and everybody wore white gloves and stuff like that. And I was using a select typewriter. Anyways, then in the early 1990s, right after that, the desktop computing came out in the late 70s. And I had one of those. My wife had an Apple II Plus. I had junk. And then the big thing is the ARPANET got commercialized in the early 1990s, and that's where we get the commercial internet today. So it's about 30 years old. Cloud computing came in big time in 96. The iPhone changed everything in 2007, and we've been on this roll towards a digital culture ever since. Now, AI is with us. New tools come out every week. I subscribe to newsletters, and oh my goodness. And they're going to be embedded in the operating systems, everybody's phone and everybody's computer. You buy forward, there will be AI tools in it. And I just saw this, I just got this out of my newsletter this morning. The guy publishes an optimistic vision for how AI is going to transform society within 5 to 10 years of achieving human level capabilities, touching on longevity, politics, work, economy, and more. Now, back in the 70s, when I got interested in a lot of this stuff, there was a book out called Autonomous Technology. This is as close to autonomous technology as you're going to see. There's nothing we can do about it. And so really the burden is on us to do some public interest stuff with it, to represent the public, because there's other forces at work here. So that's why we have to pay attention. Okay, Jake, next slide. And this is Jake.
Okay, so part of this project, it's important to talk about the capabilities of recipes.
Really loud.
Sorry, when it comes to digital equity. And you gotta start thinking about it in terms of, as Wally mentioned, analog to digital and shifting the perspective. So by promoting digital equity and having digital access for residents as well as digital literacy, essentially allow the difference between access and mobility. Services don't need to be traveled to and don't need to be limited by access in terms of hours, operations. They are virtual. They can be anywhere at all times. Additionally, you can duplicate services and availability, telehealth, education, all of these can be held maybe at a physical location and broadcasted to a series of secondary locations so that larger communities can reap the benefits. Additionally, as we're seeing this new way of thinking coming into place, we have more and more consensus that in order for our cities and transformation to remain solvent, I can just talk. The use of digital technology is essential to create more efficiencies in public infrastructure and public amenities. We're seeing this in the modern age with public services being available through portals online, registering for reservations at parks or computer labs. And so it's a new way of thinking about it, of how we can promote these practices, such as laying conduit and dark fiber as a part of every street improvement project, so that moving into the future, the assets needed to make digital improvements or digital assets live are already there. Okay, next slide, please. Or next one. So digital equity, I'm sure you're going to hear a lot of this over the next few weeks and months, but essentially what digital equity is we're intending to ensure that the disadvantaged communities, including seniors, minorities, and those who don't necessarily speak English in the household, will have access to services that allow them to participate in the digital economy and take advantage of municipal services. And the part there that participate in the digital economy is critical, because in the modern age, every sector has a base in the digital economy. And by limiting the amount of education individuals can have in technology and digital assets, you are fully limiting their economic capabilities. And digital literate populations form the labor force for public and private employers. Additionally, this is just good business. It's not social welfare. Digital products are less expensive to produce. The cost of a digital literate resident is far lower because of their ability to access services from just sitting at their home or connected to a Wi-Fi network, and their ability to contribute to society and the community at large is exponentially increased. So this is our equitable digital strategy. So we're all familiar with the SBFN. And what we would like to aim for is that every household and small business has the ability to purchase affordable, reliable, and high-capacity broadband service with robust customer service. We all have those nightmare stories with our current ISPs being on hold or not getting someone out there for weeks. And that's even more amplified when your household doesn't speak English or is in a location that is underserved by these networks. And so part of this is small businesses to help them grow the digital economy. And this entire plan would have an estimated cost of $100 million. And then additionally, it'd be to develop multiple network nodes for public access to the internet. And this includes offering devices for training and support where people can get the devices that they need with the education. And this is an estimated cost of $75 million. I'm going to kick it back to Wally.
Right, so in light of all the discussions we've had about Measure M, it's important to know that we funded our digital initiative out of Measure M. So the less of it there, the less we can do. But there is a competition for funds, therefore, between the transportation world and the digital world. And rail infrastructure is part of the analog society. It's mobility. It's taking you where you are to where you've got to be as opposed to doing it for access, which is the digital society. The cost of the mobility is huge compared to the access provided through digital networks. So the question is, are we moving forward or not? And the investment that's available to go into the future to make this world the better world that we want to live in is really critical. Let's go to the next slide. Now I have a proposal. It turned out that I had a long consulting career. Many of you know this before I joined the COG. And one of the jobs I had was working for Metro to tell them what to do with their right of way along the rail line. And so what I came up with is we could have made 1,000-strand fiber network along the entire 300-mile system with nodes in 25 cities on the system and 25 cities not on the system. All of that for the cost of a half a mile of underground construction. That is not to say you wouldn't do the underground construction, but the point being that it's a small amount of money. You could have done both. And the impact on digital transformation of the region, this was in 1992, so 30 years ago, would have been huge. And think of COVID shutdown in 2021, had this figured out. Go to the next picture, it's the next shot. This is the map that I literally took out a report that I gave to Metro in 1991, 92. There it is. There is their rail, 300 miles in the rail with the network on top of it, with the goal being the public access centers along the Metro network that went over 300 miles out into the cities. In other words, had this been adopted, we all today would have a county-owned fiber network to each and every city. And they didn't do it. I even took one of those yellow dots, that was the Blue Line Televillage. That was a demonstration project. It did show how the public access nodes would work. And I did that in 1995. So it isn't always about budget, it's about thinking digitally. And the transportation agency didn't like it because it didn't have wheels that rolled. And this is too bad because this would have transformed the county 30 years ago. Go ahead.
So this is the current example of what we have in the South Bay. So through Measure M, we got $6.2 million investment to produce this South Bay fiber network. And this investment produced $570,000 in annual savings for South Bay cities who were purchasing 1 gigabyte of speed. And that's not to include that a lot of these cities didn't even necessarily receive that bandwidth and capacity to begin with.
The point is the investment, the Measure M investment we made didn't create a problem of maintenance and low usage. It saved a sum of money for every single city. And I would like to argue that's a metric going forward, what you do with your Measure M money. Let's make it productive and not done a raffle of maintenance. I know, don't worry about it. Oh, one other thing, I was gonna say, Mayor Butts said, you gotta be bold and you want monumental projects. Well, if you go back to the slide that I had with the county with 300 miles, that's a monumental project. And so the question is not, do you want a monumental project? It's which monumental project do you want? And preferably one that makes money or saves money. Go ahead.
So, and then spreading the benefits in order to develop the digital economy. So 54,000 of our businesses in the South Bay employ 10 or fewer employees. It's almost 90%. And 4,682 of those businesses are located within just a quarter mile of the SBFN points of presence. And those businesses can all be connected at minimal cost, giving them the capabilities and the assets necessary to compete in a digital economy and have reliable, high-speed, cheap connection. And this is just a map of those points.
These are darker the circle, the more businesses there.
Yes. Oh, yes. Each circle isn't necessarily a business. It is a cluster of businesses. And so there, as you can see, like if green represents 201 to 500, each one of those points is, if we're taking 10, is almost 2,000 to 5,000 individuals that can be connected through their business. Next, please.
How do you define small business?
Under 10.
Under 10.
So federal and state digital equity grants. So the NTIA released 2 grants, and one was an algorithm to assign money to the state. That is the capacity program, and the competitive program is a federal competition. And we have been applying through the LA County, which is the IBCC, the Intergovernmental Broadband Coordinating Committee. And under this, we are looking to get 1.2 million to develop public access nodes and 400,000 for device distribution. This includes laptops and personal hotspots for those without coverage. And then under the state capacity program, we're looking for a potential of 1 to 3 million, and proposals for this are due January 2025, and we are just beginning work on. They're still hosting webinars and workshops, and we are going to be developing an application. And then lastly, this is just a visual that shows the dark blue is the ring for the SBFN and the light blue is our laterals. And every point on there is a place that we would like to connect to. These are the triangles are libraries, the pink squares are senior centers, and all the green is local parks that we could bring Wi-Fi to. So it just shows the cluster of community access points that are very close to the existing SBFN and with minimal costs can be expanded to provide coverage and services to the general public. And
that's it. In our board meeting presentation, we'll go into some details about the extension of the network and some of the costs involved and where we would go. We've got some real detailed drawings of some places, as well as the ecosystem having to do with, I invented a ladder of capabilities. So you see where we want to go, where simple Wi-Fi access all the way up to some micro factories, that kind of thing. So that's coming in the end of the month.
yes, we also have, through our LADA grant with the CPDC, we have our consultants, Arcadis, have developed the actual plans and the data and costs for what these expansions would look like through different scenarios. So that analysis of how the network would be expanded into specifically disadvantaged communities has been thoroughly conducted already, and we have it complete.
And I just want to say the reason we're doing all of this is that we are on the brink of possibly expanding the SBFN to be able to do a lot of these things. And we want to tell you what the potential is and then tell you how we can do it. That's going to come over the next couple of meetings. This is like a TV show where we're going to roll it out in episodes. And so this is the first episode of that. And because we have some real opportunities that are coming up.
Yeah, great ideas, presentations. I love it. I know in our city, there's a lot of small businesses, and I'm sure in every city, there's a lot of small businesses. And you did the research, like you had the numbers. Do you have like a geographic heat map of where those businesses are in relation to the South Bay, or could you create?
So you look at it, go back.
But no.
No,
I think, John, I don't know about whether we have one, but I think, don't we do it off of business licenses? Rancho Palos Verdes doesn't.
No, we don't. We do it off
Oh,
on a Bradstreet data.
okay, so then we probably have it. I was worried because you don't have business licenses anymore,
No,
right?
well, no, we still get the business license. We just don't, if you have a home-based business, we don't charge people taxes.
Okay,
But I guess the point is that I could see where you're going, where you invest in this and then now people can start having businesses at their homes that they couldn't have before because they didn't have the fiber network.
Or in small places in your commercial centers.
Right. So then you see people moving their operations closer to home or at their homes.
Access over mobility, making it easy to get to the access.
Instead of building more roads because people are driving farther, they're actually driving less. So.
Right, that's the point.
and the whole point is that feeds into our micromobility. If you're driving less, you don't need 5 cars.
Additionally, it just provides reliability. A lot of these small organizations do a ton of e-commerce, and the ability to have reliable, high speed and cost-effective network is critical to their operations. And we conducted a series of small business interviews during our LADA grant, and it showed that reliability is huge for them because the connection goes out, their whole business is shut down. And so being able to provide this is critical to their operation.
I'd like to give kudos to our staff. Wally created this ladder, and Cal State Dominguez is using that ladder now, and they had a public forum on Friday. Wally's ladder, it's a very, very good symbol, and I think it's going to take off. You'll see it not only here, but other places.
Good job. Thanks, you guys.
Can I go back a second? Because I just remembered something.
Go ahead.
Mike Jenkins at your direction, Mike Jenkins, our attorney, is coming to the Dominguez board meeting. I'm not sure that's the best place for him. I can ask him to come to the workshop. Or do you need the lawyer at all?
They've already kind of
Where is the
voiced their opinion.
Yeah, why not?
You want, where, at the 24th?
Workshop.
At the workshop. Sure, I'll see if he can come to the workshop. If not, then he can still come to the 24th if you want. Okay,
Yeah,
But I'll-
in case people have other questions for them.
okay, I'll see if he can come to the workshop.
I'd love to work out a lot of my questions.
That's right.
I would love you to too. Okay, so then let's go to Kim.
Hi. Okay, so just a little bit here. I wanted to first of all say that we're having our recognition ceremony, which for the facility staff, I have to rethink, I'm still thinking Inglewood in my mind. For the sustainability effort as well as for the work on energy efficiency. And so that's in December, but the speaker for that is going to be Robert Fortunato. And he had the Green Idea House and he used to do tours. And so I wanted just to ask if you all would be interested in, if we could arrange a tour of seeing his house. It's like off the grid.
It's in Hermosa Beach.
And what do you think about maybe scheduling something like that? Would you like us to look into that? You'd be interested?
I would be.
Okay,
We'll set up some kind of an optional tour.
okay, that sounds good.
His house is off the grid.
Yes, yeah.
It's off the grid, the parking's even worse.
Also, I wanted to let you know that, let's see here. Coming January 1, 2025, you're not gonna be able, your city's not gonna be able to get the compact linear fluorescent lights. And so if you need to do switch outs for your city facilities, you can let us know because we might be able to actually get you some incentives for that through our energy efficiency funding. But also, and Jackie doesn't know this part, I wanted just to celebrate some of the savings that the cities are getting. And so we have a lot of cities that are participating in the heat pump water heater exchange program. And for some cities, they're getting 100% of the cost covered. And so for the city of Hawthorne, they got a total of services, goods and services that equaled $91,000. City of Inglewood had $161,866 worth of benefit. And the city of Carson is getting five heat pump water heaters and 100% of the costs are going to be covered. We don't know what the costs are yet. So I wanted to let everybody know that. Also, we are still doing our outreach to the school districts and we have two that we need help with. We need help with Lawndale Unified School District and Wiseburn. So if anybody has contacts that they could put us in touch with for those school districts, that would be fantastic. Part of the reason why we were able to make such progress before with the school districts is because elected officials said something and then we got them enrolled and they're already taking advantage of those programs.
Which one is Weisburn?
Is in Hawthorne.
Yeah,
The high school's Da Vinci in
Yeah.
El Segundo.
It's right
So
next to
maybe you-
the.
maybe you can help me with that one.
The superintendent.
Okay, so we're just down to only needing 3. So that's fantastic. And then the last thing is, we have our Civic Spark fellows that have joined us. And you'll see Kevin later, who's working on energy efficiency when we start to do our reporting. But we also have Zoran, who's going out into the community and doing community events. And we're really trying to raise the awareness of our work through social media. And so he's working with Colleen to do little videos and trying to build more following on social media. So we'll kind of let you know how that goes, but it's kind of exciting to see something new in that area. So that's all I have, besides my report.
So the fluorescent lights, I'm not a huge fan of them myself, but I have a lot of them in my commercial building, my house, and I'm sure all of us do. You said that the help and funding is for government.
That's correct.
What about all the rest of us? I remember
Yeah.
LADWP went around and converted to the smaller tubes,
Right,
which now those are going to be banned. Now
right.
what?
Let me find out what's happening with residential. And see, yeah, and commercial and see what we
Both
can,
Edison and DWP.
yeah, let me see what we can do.
They had a program that they gave out the bulbs themselves, but.
They changed out everything.
Yeah,
The
they.
ballast and everything.
Ballast,
Yeah, I don't think that there's any direct install. That would be like a direct install. There's not a direct install, but let me just see what we can find out and what we can share the information. Yeah,
All right, thanks. Homeless?
Ronson, right.
All right, so just some quick updates. On October 28th, Supervisor Barger and Raman will be will be coming here. And at the Redondo Beach Main Library, it'll be a hybrid meeting. This isn't necessarily about homelessness specifically, but it's about climate resiliency centers. And so we'll be inviting your city's police, fire, senior programs, park rec, public works folks to come to this meeting. The county is really pushing for 8 regional centers in every spa to do climate resiliency. And so we're gonna have a discussion on that, and that's on the 28th. There might be a secondary conversation about homelessness, what's working, what's not, feedback from the cities. Both Barger and Raman sit on the executive committee, as I mentioned before. And then another important date right after that, on Wednesday, October 30th, we're gonna have the Redondo Beach celebration on their functional zero street homelessness achievement, hosted by Holly Mitchell and Al Marisucci. And then we currently are meeting with cities to discuss the next cohort of cities. Because of limited staff, we're choosing just a few cities. Torrance is next, and then we're trying to knock out all the beach cities: Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, and then we're in discussions with El Segundo. Just on that functional zero note, I'm actually really excited. If you look at the very bottom, the number of unsheltered in 2024 in our 15 cities is now under 1,000 people. So yeah, that's less than my son's middle school. So I'm really excited. You know, we've dropped it by 15% since 2022.
any school closing.
I think this is very achievable. In fact, I think we can do it in 3 years, maybe in 5. You know, if we were able to roll out the functional zero program across all our cities, we can definitely do this. Very excited about that. And again, that's just for our 15 cities. You know, in our CD15 area, it's a little bit higher numbers, but we're working on that as well. There's actually a lot more resources in LA City, so that's also, I think, very achievable.
I didn't know you were using that slide. Could you change the spelling on peninsula?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Say penicillin.
Yeah. And then update on the Good Neighbors Pledge. The county is now adopting this pledge. They put it on their letterhead and wordsmithed it a little bit. We think maybe they might take a board motion on it, but they're actually, as part of the roadshow, are encouraging all cities and COGs to adopt this Good Neighbor Pledge. Where we're at, we're about halfway through our cities. So far, we got Redondo Beach, Hermosa Beach, Hawthorne, Rancho Palos Verdes, Rolling Hills Estates. We got Tim McCosker, Holly Mitchell. Han has given us like a verbal, and then Supervisor Barger actually said she wants to sign on to it as well. And so after the elections, we're going to go to our remaining cities to see if they can agendize it. And then so far, only Torrance and Palos Verdes Estates has voted no on the pledge. One of the kind of two themes come up on the kind of the no camp is, you know, the questions are, can cities still enforce anti-camping ordinances if they sign on to the pledge? And the answer is yes. The pledge just states that services will be offered first. So it doesn't prevent your city from enforcing anti-camping ordinances. And then another concern people have is that homeless population tends to be transitory in their city. There's this notion that, you know, people are coming from other places, especially in cities with hospitals. And so one of the things we try to educate is, and this is coming out of our functional zero program, this data, is that if you look at this is our outflow outcomes, you know, 33% of people are going to shelters, but on this orange slice, which is part of their biggest slice, 15% of it is outcomes are reunification outcomes. And a lot of that is the COGS applying A money, buying bus tickets for folks to reunite with family outside of our area, or we sometimes get people that are away from their conservatorship. So we've sent someone back to like Lake Arrowhead, for instance, who is conserved there. We even have a person who needed help, who's getting help in France, and we bought a plane ticket for him to get back to France. So we do a lot of reunification.
Sure, I am from France as well.
And we know you have a lot of problems, and we need to conserve you too. Yeah.
There's a shot.
A lot of what we do is reunify people back to kind of where their help is. And so that hopefully answer that question about what to do with people that are coming into our cities. And then just some updates on our working groups. Our homeless task force met on October 2nd. We discussed Measure A and its impacts. Basically, the headline is if Measure A passes, our direct services now will stay the same, about $2 million coming to us at the COG. And we'll get an additional about $12 million to the South Bay for housing. That'll be new money. And then our next meeting will be December 4th, and we'll talk about the aftermath of Measure A, if it passes or not passes. We also had a homeless city staff meeting with your staff on October 9th. We discussed the Gateway COG letter that you just all approved. And we'll also be discussing the aftermath of Measure A, especially if it doesn't pass. We're strategizing about what to do if Measure A doesn't pass for our cities. And then senior services, no real update there. Our next meeting is on November 26th, and that's all the updates I have.
What about October 28th and October 30th?
But that, I talked about that at the beginning.
Okay, so I hope you all plan to come. Sorry, I must have used my dad.
Question, Ronson. Is Carson coming to those meetings that you are having for this?
Yes, Rayanne and team are coming in the 4 outreach work.
In the fall, okay.
Yeah.
So you met all 4 of them now, because
Yeah.
we tired 2 ladies, okay.
Oh, I think.
Yeah, they're great, by the way.
Teach us for you checking in on it.
Mhm.
Good.
That's it, Ronson. No other questions for me?
Also, real quick, the next one is December 4th.
Yes.
So that's a conflict with
That's the same day as our
Yeah,
awards
so, yeah.
at Gardena.
Right,
Okay, so we'll have to move it.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's elected officials.
I didn't notice that.
So heads up.
Thanks,
Good
Ronson.
job.
It sounded familiar.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on.
Then we have,
Trouble
it's LTM, right?
Trouble.
Jake, do you have anything to talk about with the travel network and e-bike safety? What about
We
you?
presented to the Peninsula Unified School District's principal and president's luncheon. We were invited by the PTA actually just this morning for Ann and I to do a virtual version of our presentation or webinar for parents. And we presented along with the Lomita Sheriff's Department and RHE Police Department. Just an educational material such as the different classes of e-bikes, what a sticker program would look like in the region. And Rolling Hills Estates has actually been spearheading this movement to try and develop a community-wide one, but for the entire school district in the peninsula. And because it was fully bootstrapped by Principal Jaime at Ridgecrest Middle School, who created his own sticker program. And they saw a lot of value in it, and so they're trying to expand it to the entire region. So I'll be working with Jessica Slauson at RHE and Cheryl, don't remember her last name, but she's with the PTA organization to try and get parents educated too, because as the police department presented is all these e-bikes that are basically just mini motorcycles, they are completely illegal. So just as much as we need to educate the students, we need to educate the parents on what they're buying their kids. So we'll be working closely with the peninsula on that.
Good job.
That's LTM.
Okay, then, any items for the future steering committee meetings that anybody has?
Don't forget, we need to go back to the.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, we do.
Here. Everybody who wants.
Everybody gets the invoices?
Yeah. Move to approve.
Is that a motion approved? Got a second? All those in favor? Okay, let's pay the bills unless somebody wants to pay them.
Okay, on items that came up last meeting, I just want to remind you, the 28th is going to be an interesting meeting with Supervisor Barger and LA Councilman Rahman. And then October 30th is this big celebration we're having in Redondo Beach. But I had written myself a note that John brought up earlier. We have Katrina Manning, who sits on the Baldwin and Urban Watersheds Conservancy. Area G gives us pretty regular reports, so that's not necessary. But Santa Monica Bay Restoration Commission is Dean Francois and Eric Allegria, which is going to be an opening. South Bay Chambers is Eric Allegria, and South Bay Aerospace Alliance is Bill Uphoff and Rodney Tanaka. And I'm wondering if you would like them to either give written or oral reports at like the November, some meeting before the end of the year. Because haven't gotten, we're supposed to ask for written reports, we haven't gotten those. So, we haven't gotten any written reports on those, all of those that I just mentioned. So we can write to those delegates. And then I just noticed Eric Allegria, unfortunately, termed out. So we will have we'll have two positions that I will be doing an opening for come probably December, January. So I think that's all I had. The next steering committee meeting is November 6th, after the election, the day after the election. So please, if that's because of Veterans Day, please plan to mark your calendars and come the next day after Election Day. And that's all I have.
Anybody have anything for the good of the order?
Adjourn.
Yeah, I mean, none. We are actually adjourned early.
Oh, good job.